Hello friends, this is Miss Christie. You may know me from coming on the BioBlitz field study. I'm going to be explaining to you today how to complete the BCPS Junior Naturalist program. Now that you have some time at home, maybe you would enjoy a field trip just by going out your front door. You may have been noticing plants and animals that before you just brushed right by. You may be hearing birds calling that sound more clear. And maybe you see that crack on the sidewalk as a place to sit and observe for a while. Let's take a look at how to become a BCPS Junior Naturalist. The Junior Naturalist program was created for 5th graders who were interested in exploring the outdoors. A Junior Naturalist is someone who chose to complete the program. Your family can help you with the exploration, but the work must be yours. We hope to see all students exploring nature and are offering this program to 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders to complete. Hopefully all of your family will enjoy learning together outdoors. Students will need to complete 2 of the 3 optional activities in which they will learn more about the natural world around them. Then students will complete the final mandatory activity, highlighting a plant, animal, or decomposer that lives in Baltimore County. Once your work has been completed, you will send it in to get prizes, which will be sent back to you. So, what do I need to become a BCPS Junior Naturalist? You only need to be interested in nature and have the My BCPS Junior Naturalist Journal Home Edition. This packet can be found in Schoology. You have the option to print the entire packet and use it like a booklet, or to print just the pages you will be submitting to your teacher. If you choose to use this as a booklet, print all the pages and arrange them so that they look like a book. Put the staples down the left-hand side and use a small piece of tape to tape together pages 1 and 2 back to back, pages 3 and 4 back to back, and so on, so that the packet will function as a book. Now you want to be thinking about the materials you're going to need to complete your journal. You really only need to have a pencil and the journal itself, but it may be helpful if you have some crayons that you could gather to add some color to your drawings. For spotting organisms, we really love using our toilet paper binoculars. They're actually the ones that I use the most when we're on our hikes. But maybe you have some kids' binoculars, or maybe you have some grown-up binoculars that you could borrow. We use this paper towel roll as a telescope, or maybe you have a little hand lens. Any of these things you could use to help you find organisms on your hike. Now, once you found those organisms, you don't really have to have a fancy bug house or even a little bug box. The things we use the most are actually these little yogurt containers and some peanut butter jars that have been washed out, or even if you have an egg carton laying around, you might be able to use that as well. If you've had your device shipped to you or you brought it home with you, you can use your device to look up organisms using the internet. Maybe you might have some ID books at home that you could be able to use as well. Now let's get into the pages of our journal. Pages 2 and 3 are the first of the 3 optional activities. These are the outdoor observations. For this first activity, you will make observations of nature. This can be done from inside your home or outside in a communal area, in your yard, or on a hike. Take some time to thoroughly look at the plants, animals, and decomposers that really are living all around you. You may like to do a scavenger hunt to help get you started thinking about what there is to see. This friend has found a white flower on a bush. You might notice that it's actually smaller than her finger. It has a strong scent, and it definitely needs sunlight for energy. After you found those things, you could check them off on your scavenger hunt. It's smaller than your finger, has a strong scent, needs sunlight for energy. Then you're going to want to decide how you want to document what you find. The next few slides will give you some ideas. One way to observe nature is actually from inside. You can set up a birdwatching station near a window. You only need to be able to see the grass from the window, but if you're able to find a tree, it might increase the wildlife you see. Putting on a bird feeder may also help draw wildlife closer to your window. Remember, you only need a pencil and your journal, but if you have some of those other items, they might be helpful here as well. Now let's get into some birding tips. You can set your station up the day before you want to use it. Birds scare away pretty easily and they will see you moving around behind the window. In your journal, there is a tiny URL which will take you to a website that shows some different ways to set up your birding station. You might want to put out that bird seed or peanut butter on a pine cone that I had mentioned before. There also is a tiny URL in the journal to show you how to do those things. Don't worry if you don't have bird seed or peanut butter or even a pine cone. The birds really will just come to eat the seeds and the insects that are hiding in your grass. Remember, those birds scare easily, so you might want to pull the blind or the curtain down as low as you can so they don't notice you quite as much. Another way to make your outdoor observations is by going on a hike. It doesn't have to be far. You could really just go down the street. Maybe you have a communal area nearby. Maybe you could go into the backyard or go for a hike in a park. I would recommend bringing your journal with you so that way you can check off what you're finding on your scavenger hunt. Make sure you take time to look, to listen, and to smell all those fantastic spring smells. Another way to make outdoor observations is by looking for just one type of living thing. Maybe you want to see what kind of grasses are growing on your lawn, or you want to find out what flowers are in bloom at this season. You might even be able to find a pile of old leaves from the fall, and you could look through them to see what variety of plant life you find there. Just remember, unless it's your own property, you really shouldn't be taking living or once living things from someone else's property. You could focus your observations on one classification of living things. Maybe you want to search just for invertebrates. We found all of these little critters within 5 minutes of each other. But if it's possible, you might want to roll over something you find on the ground, usually a brick, a stone, or a log. These are prime hiding spots for small invertebrates because it stays nice and moist, but it's also well protected. We turned over a brick and found a beetle and this nice ant trail running along the side here. But remember, it is home to lots of little things, so after you're done looking, be sure to gently put back whatever you rolled in the exact same place, and be careful not to crush what you were just looking at. You really can see from this slide that there are so many different ways that your journal pages may look, and all of these are fantastic examples. In this first example, the student decided to journal about their hike, and then they drew a sketch of what the trail looked like and the forest looked like on the side, and added in a few different leaf rubbings from what they collected. In the second journal entry, you can see that this student sat down in one spot and really did a close-up sketch of everything that they found. The third entry shows basically everything that this student came across, different kinds of seeds, some invertebrates, some flowers, some leaf rubbings, a feather that they found as well. And in the fourth journal entry, this student really focused on just specific birds that they found. To do a leaf rubbing, pick up your leaf, turn it so that the bumpy side is up, place it under your paper, hold one end with your hand, and with your crayon, rub until you can see all sides of the leaf. Once you can see all sides, take your leaf out, smash it up, and smear it on top. Really hard, so that lots of colors come out. Then, to sketch your next item, just do a quick draw of what you see.
You can even use the flower to color your drawing in. Don't forget the stem. Some colors will show better than others, but it's always good to try.
That brings us to the second of our optional activities, the media connections. For the second optional activity, you're going to select 5 different forms of media, either books, magazines, journals, websites, or movies. You can pick any combination of them. You could do 5 books or 2 magazine articles and a website and 2 nature movies. Whatever you select, though, it should be age appropriate and nonfiction and be related to nature, biology, ecology, or earth sciences. Once you've decided the media that you're going to explore, write the titles in the 5 boxes on pages 4 and 5 in your journal. Then you're going to journal your thoughts and experiences after interacting with the media. You might write a few sentences journaling what it made you feel or what it made you think or some important details from what you read. Maybe you're going to add an illustration that you think would have been helpful to you, or you might want to illustrate your favorite part of what you learned. Baltimore County Public Library is going to be a fantastic resource to help you with this project. They have so many forms of media that you can connect to, like their downloadable books and audiobooks, which you can borrow through OneDrive or Cloud Library. Some magazine subscriptions you can download are for Backpacker, Birds and Blooms, Outdoor Life, or Outside, all of which would be pertinent to this journal. Maybe you want to watch a nature documentary, which are some of the most popular ones on public television, and you can stream those through Canopy. And if none of those are good for you, you can also research their database for different books, and you're welcome to use the elementary or middle school databases, depending on what level material you are interested in. I would recommend calling into Brain Fuse from 2 p.m. to midnight, 7 days a week. And actually, it's an online chat tutoring service for kindergartners through college, and it would be perfect to help you find recommendations for what interests you and what level material you would like to be using. Baltimore County Public Schools and Baltimore County Public Library have a partnership that allows all Baltimore County Public Schools students access to the library resources, whether it be print, audiobooks, downloadable books, or other online resources. Your student ID number will act as your BCPL account number when you're ready to check out materials. Unless you've changed your password, it will be 0000, and you are allowed to check out up to 5 items without any late fees. If you do need to see how this works, there are instructions for students in the form of a tiny URL in the journal. But if you just go to the Baltimore County Library main webpage, you can see if you go to the youth section, there's a section there called Student Accounts, and there's a video that will walk you through everything you need to do. Another great resource for the second optional activity of Media Connections is the National Park Service website. In your journal, there is a tiny URL which can link you directly to this website. And when you come here to visit, it has all of the national parks listed, which each have virtual tours. Now, these virtual tours can vary greatly in format. Some will have Google 360 pictures that you can interact with. Some will just have trail maps. Some have slideshows, and others have comparison pictures of what the park looked like maybe 100 years ago compared to today, or what it looked like 10 years ago compared to today. Sometimes there's a time-lapse video of how the park changes throughout the seasons. It's definitely worth taking a look. If you do decide to use some of these for your media connections, you would just write the name of the park where it says title on pages 4 and 5 in your journal. Probably one of the most interactive of all the media connections for optional activity 2 is the Google 360 virtual tours of the national parks. Again, there will be a tiny URL link in the journal for you to find this. If you choose to explore this, there are 5 specific parks that they look at. Kenai Fjords, which has glaciers, and you actually can go down into an ice crevasse and see what it looks like down below, listen to the sounds of ice moving, and explore by kayak along the water. The Hawaii volcanoes, and you can see them erupting. Carlsbad Caverns, where you can actually go underground. Bryce Canyon, where they have an option to see the night sky, since it's one of the darkest places in the United States, and therefore some of the best stargazing available, as well as the Dry Tortugas, which is mainly an underwater national park, and you can go down with the scuba divers to see what is down there. It really is a unique experience, and there's different video clips and sounds and just amazing things to see. Again, if you do choose to use one of these parks for your pages 4 and 5, you would just write the title of the park as your book title. Here we are at our 3rd optional activity for your BCPS Junior Naturalist Journal. You can make a digital contribution to science. You will be acting as a community scientist, which is sometimes called a citizen scientist, and that really is anyone who contributes information to a scientist's project. You have the option of contributing to one of 2 projects for the journal here, and you will need an adult's permission to become part of either of these projects. Remember, this is optional, so this could be the activity that you skip if you so desire. One of the 2 optional activities is for iNaturalist. They collect data about biodiversity from around the world just by people sending in photographs of plants, animals, and decomposers that they find. Or you could become part of Stream Selfie. If you happen to have a stream nearby your house or a park that you go to that has a stream, you just photograph the stream itself or take a selfie with the stream, send it in, and make a few notes about the health of the stream. Both projects can be found online. iNaturalist also has an app that you can use, and they both are found on other forms of social media. Please remember, if you do go hiking in a park, that it is important for your entire family to be socially distant from any other families you see in the park. Right here, you can clearly see that this family here is staying at least 6 feet away from this family here. And it's important to maintain that social distance even if you are out hiking. Here we have a close-up look at a journal entry for iNaturalist. Remember, for iNaturalist, you're going to photograph one plant, animal, or decomposer, send it in using the computer or the app, and then you're going to do some research to make your best guess as to what it is. Now, I personally find the Seek app to be very helpful to me. It will take your photograph and give you some best guesses as to what it may be to help you figure out what specimen you have found. There is not a tiny URL to link to because this is an app, but you could look online and find out information about Seek. It is through iNaturalist as well. In your journal entry, you're going to want to sketch the specimen that you found and then take some notes about where you found it, or maybe do a leaf rubbing. What did you think about after you saw it? Take some notes where you found it and what you think it is. Here is an example of the Stream Selfie entry. This person chose just to have the stream in their photo, and then there's a few notes about if there is litter around, how clear the water is there always water in the stream, or does it dry up? And then again, in your journal, you're going to want to add your picture. Maybe you print out the photograph and then take some notes about what you saw, how it made you feel, and those health of the stream questions as well. As you can see here, this student decided to be a part of the iNaturalist Scientist Project as well as the Stream Selfie Scientist Project. And with an adult's permission, you can feel free to join both projects. We really are hoping that this is just the first step in you becoming a lifelong outdoor scientist. At this point, we have covered the 3 optional activities. Remember, you will be doing 2 or 3 of the optional activities, and now you are ready for the mandatory activity, your field guide entry. Baltimore County Public Schools wants to start building our very own field guide for all the parks that we take our 5th graders to. And this is your opportunity to contribute to that. So what exactly is a field guide? It's just a book that identifies different things from the natural world. Here you can see there are lots of different ways this can look, but they always have one specific topic about which they focus. So you might be studying trees or astronomy, maybe butterflies or birds, just specifically of Maryland and Delaware. Or maybe you're looking at the amphibians and reptiles that we have all over North America. So how are you going to make your field guide entry? We want the field guide to be representative of all the parks that we take 5th graders to when they buy a Blitz in Baltimore County. Because of that, we created a website that shows where the parks are and where the best of the best pictures that 5th graders have taken can be found in those parks. There is a tiny URL in your journal that will take you directly to this website. It really works best in Google, so if you do not have that as your browser, you should open this with Google. Once you're in the website, you're going to look at the thumbnails that you see here on the left-hand side. And these are pictures taken by your fellow 5th graders. You'll notice that we have found flowers in the park. Maybe this looks like another type of flower here, a few different insects, and some nice decomposers on this rotting log right here. You can click on the thumbnail and it will take you to some specific details about that organism. There also will be a section that lets you know if another student has selected this organism for researching. We do not want to have multiple entries of the same organism. So if someone else has already selected it, you will need to pick something else to research. Once your organism has been selected, you are going to need to research some facts about it. You will need to know what its name is, where specifically does it live, meaning a forest or a meadow, or maybe both. What size can it grow to? Where in the United States can it be found? And where in nature it can be found. Specifically, you should be mentioning which park it was found in for the field guide. You will also need to have a general description of your organism, including how it acts, where it likes to be, is it active in the day or the night, what kind of sounds does it make, what colors is it, or if it's a plant, maybe when it blooms, fruits, or seeds. You're also going to want to think about how to sketch your organism. The more information you add, the better and more helpful it's going to be to the people who are reading it. So if you pick a butterfly, maybe you're going to also add the caterpillar. Maybe you'll show the butterfly with its wings closed and its wings opened. If you pick a vine, you might show what the stem looks like and if there's thorns on it, berries on it, or flowers on it. You might need to research this a little bit so that you can see your organism at different times of year or in different positions. Remember, when you're doing your research, you may not copy someone else's words and use them as your own. You need to gain information and write it from your own perspective. There is a page in the journal specifically for your research notes. This is where you will find the tiny URL that you can use to see which organisms you can research. There's also a place to list the resources that you used, the title, and the author of the book or the website that you are using. Another page has been added just for practicing your sketches. This is where you can decide the different angles that you want to use or the different parts of the organism that you want to include. Also a great place for you to practice shading if you're going to use coloring. Here are some examples of completed field guide journal entries. You'll notice that this cicada really benefit from just being drawn in pencil. This kind of detail here in the legs would really be lost if it was covered over with crayon. But this example benefited from being in color to see the vibrancy of this butterfly. You will need to decide which is best for your journal entry. When you have finished your journal, meaning you completed 2 of the 3 optional activities, plus the mandatory activity, you will submit your work to your teacher. Of course, if you completed all 4 activities, we would love for you to send them all to us. We are hoping that this inspires you to continue exploring nature with your family now and for the rest of your lives. Your teacher will send your work to Christy Davis in the Office of Science. I do want to say that it might be helpful to you to watch this video again once you have your packet in hand. But really, it's about time to go outside, get some fresh air, and explore. I can't wait to see what you